Hi, everybody. Welcome to WCA Extra. This is our live desk shows kicking off right around 9:15. It's now 9:20. Today we're talking to Cam Smith. And Cam, I think we're talking about a guy who, yet again, we're talking about on our airwaves, which is Harley Breer. So this is a guy who's a repeat offender in Vermont, and he's been in the headlines quite a bit. So hold on. So kicking it off, we've done some extensive coverage on him, and I have some notes here from the work that you and Darren did just this week. So in some of the offenses that he's done, in 1999, he's charged with kidnapping and rape of the ex-girlfriend. In 2011, it's about 12 years later, faced life in prison for beating up his then-girlfriend, and he was freed for a lack of evidence. And then 7 years later, kidnapping and assaulting again. So these things keep happening and happening over the good part of, the 80s, but this right here is that part of a decade. So now we get word that he is set to be released, now delayed, and going out to Canaan.
Right.
Very northernmost part of Vermont.
Yeah.
Why is this concerned a lot of people out there?
Yeah, so some of our folks, Joe Carroll, our photographer, was
Yeah.
up there yesterday, and he was talking with a lot of residents to help build that story together. And a lot of them are really concerned, not only for their safety, given Harley Breer's long, extensive criminal history, but also the lack of law enforcement coverage. They talked about how their sheriff's department is in Guilford, about an hour away. And the Border Patrol are pretty much the only ones that are routinely covering that area, but obviously they're focused on issues at the border, which we've seen skyrocket in recent years. So there's a lot of concern around who's going to respond if we need them to respond to this Harley Breer's, wherever he's going to be living.
No, absolutely. And then another thing is here too is an interesting part with you spoke with the Essex County District Attorney, and then also issue that they have with the Department of Corrections. What's kind of that clash there?
Yeah, I think the big thing from the Essex County State's Attorney Vince Aluzzi told me yesterday that first they weren't notified. The residents in Essex County weren't notified. Law enforcement in Essex County weren't notified. He told me that law enforcement in Montpelier in Washington County were notified first, given that's where a lot of the crimes happened. That's where Breer is from. That's where a lot of his would-be victims or his victims are. The concern there was making sure that everybody was on the same page, everybody was notified, and he was not very happy that didn't happen. We did hear from sources in Washington County that say in that notice from DOC, they say that Harley Breer is at high risk to reoffend. That's something that they score all folks, whether they're being released or not, and DOC deemed him at high risk to reoffend. No,
absolutely. And I know you and Darren did some extensive work, especially on his rap sheet. Again, this is going almost 40,
way back
in the 80s. So it's a pretty extensive list. And I know you guys talked to, or Joe talked to some folks up in Canaan. So we can take a look at that. And then, of course, see all of our coverage. And at this point, there's a good amount on WCAX.com about what this guy's done. But
and we'll continue to follow it as well over the next couple of days and even weeks. DOC tells us that he's expected to be released at least next week. They didn't tell us why it was delayed, but we'll continue to keep an eye on that for sure.
No, absolutely. I think that in mind, we'll take a look at this, and again, you can see that coverage on WCAX.com.
We got a close, community here, and I don't think we need to be releasing a habitual offender like that into this community.
Harley Breer has been in and out of jail since the 1980s for crimes like kidnapping, sexual assault, and assault. He's been behind bars since his most recent arrest after a manhunt in 2021, serving the minimum amount of a 4 to 10 year sentence. He passed his minimum release date at the beginning of December, and while it's delayed, the Corrections Department has been preparing to release him on furlough.
It's a delay, so eventually after he serves his time, he's going to have to be released, but hopefully not released into the small community that barely has any police presence.
Essex County State's Attorney Vince Aluzzi also questions the decision to release Breer to live in Canaan.
The rural Northeast Kingdom, the town of Canaan, is not an appropriate placement for someone with Mr. Breer's history.
Iluzzi expressed frustration with the Department of Corrections for not notifying law enforcement in Essex County of the plan first. A notice from DOC did go out to law enforcement agencies in central Vermont, where Breer is from. Sources tell Channel 3 that notice states Breer is considered a high risk to reoffend. Iluzzi says his remote county is ill-equipped to keep track of an offender like Breer.
When you have a rural area with no major law enforcement presence and a Department of Corrections office that will supervise him almost an hour away, that spells trouble on the line.
Canaan is covered part-time by the Essex County Sheriff's Department and U.S. Border Patrol. If Breer is released, Iluzzi says it should be to a location with an adequate police presence, concerns he communicated to DOC Commissioner Nick Demmel, and residents hope they are heard too.
People's in jail, they ought to stay in jail, not loose to public peoples and do more harm. Eventually they're going to be doing it again.
And again, that was a story from our Cam Smith. You can see all that coverage on WCAX.com. And of course, we're going to follow up that as well as things play out. But shifting gears here, Peter, I know today we had street view out this morning.
Yep.
Snow's coming down the mountains.
Yeah.
But again, still down here right now at this
Nothing.
point. You
Nothing.
know, a lot of the offices into work today, and I didn't hear any complaints about getting here.
Yeah. Here in the Champlain Valley, just nothing.
Yeah.
As soon as you start to head into the mountains just a bit, you start to notice that snow accumulation really start to pile up in some places again. Here is the view on satellite radar right now. For the most part, a lot of us seeing a little bit of a break in the action right now. However, we will continue to see mountain snow showers on and off in nature here into the rest of the day today, maybe even into part of the day tomorrow, especially the further south you look. So here's how the day shapes up on Futurecast. We continue to hang on to a few mountain snow showers, especially the northern spine of the Green Mountains and points east into the Northeast Kingdom, northern New Hampshire here. As we head into the night tonight, for the most part, the bulk of the snow shower activity starts to wrap up, and I'm optimistic that a lot of us can actually see a few breaks of sunshine here as we head into your day tomorrow. But notice along the central and southern spine of Green Mountains, really Rutland, Bennington County, Windsor, Windham counties, the mountains in and around those counties, still seeing a few snow showers. Also got a little bit of lake effect snow kind of coming in onshore from Lake Ontario. Really, for the most part, though, the bulk of the snow for a lot of us is over and done with, but it still can pile up in some places. For a lot of us here through the rest of the day today to the day tomorrow, it's not all that much. It's a trace up to maybe an inch or two. However, you head into the northern spine of the Green Mountains, places like Jay Peak that we've been talking about basically all week. Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if they could pick up an additional 10 inches. That mountain range, John, that's not supposed to say 1 to 10. That's supposed to say 5 to 10. That's a little bit too much of a range.
I mean, it's not wrong. We'll put it that way. You know
I
what
know
mean?
everybody makes that joke about meteorologists between a coating and 99 inches. That mountain zone is supposed to be 5 to 10, maybe 4 to 8 across the southern mountains where they see a little bit of snow shower activity even into the day tomorrow. But again, really for the bulk of us, it's a trace maybe up to an inch or two here through the rest of the day today. The other thing that you'll notice is the winds. Take a look at the wind gusts here over the last hour. Burlington reporting a gust upwards of nearly 40 miles per hour. Same with Springfield. We're going to continue to notice that wind here through the rest of the day today. It's really the eastern slopes of the Adirondacks, the eastern slopes of the Greens that you start to see some of those brighter reds and oranges, indicative of gusty winds, at times gusting upwards of 50 miles per hour. Winds do start to diminish and back off here as we head towards later this evening and tonight. Still waking up tomorrow morning, we could still see a few gusts between 20 and 25 miles per hour before, they finally do slowly start to fall off here as we head towards later tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. Temperatures, most of us starting off the day in the mid to upper 20s, lower 30s out there. Really not going to gain all that much ground into the afternoon hours today. We'll talk snow showers, especially in and around the mountains here through the rest of your Thursday. Tonight, overnight lows, they fall back into the teens and low to mid 20s out there. Again, we'll keep a few mountain snow showers going into the night ahead. Into your day tomorrow, for the most part, the snow now over and done with. There is a few breaks of sunshine, however, still a chance at a few snow showers in and around the mountains off to the south here for tomorrow afternoon. Now look at that 7-day forecast. Quieter here as we head into the upcoming weekend. Maybe a few mountain snow showers stick around for Saturday. Those really don't look like they should amount to all that much. But the big story for the weekend will be that we're cooler. Temperatures back into the teens and 20s. Kind of a similar situation here to start off next week. Maybe a few more snow showers as we head towards midweek next week as well. And those temperatures will be rather stable here as we head into next week as well. Basically on the cooler side, teens and 20s out there for the next several days.
Yeah, Peter, I think we enjoyed the warm weather. Warm.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
60,
It was warm,
60
yeah. Yeah, it was
degrees
pretty
in
warm.
Burlington. That's
It was pretty warm, but
Yeah.
now it's like it's a return to reality here.
yeah, a return to what we should be seeing
Yeah.
in January.
Yeah, and that range 1 to 10, but it's technically on a technicality, it is right. It's
It is
somewhere
right,
in there.
but I want to be more precise than that.
Yeah. But yeah, I think as far as today goes, just hit down the roads.
Yeah.
Just know your drive.
No,
know
you
what I
drive.
mean?
Take
Yeah.
it a little bit slower. You'll
Yeah.
start to see some snow in and around those mountain towns, and you could start to see snow on the roads as a result of that.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything. Any Vermonters.
Yeah, it's nothing we haven't seen before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Anyway, Peter, I think that does it here for WCAX Extra. Of course, you can see all of our content on WCAX.com, our evening shows as well, and we'll be definitely following up on the story that Cam just did there as well. So that in mind, we'll see you in a couple hours now.